Hello and welcome to another episode of Leada-Talk. So my name is Nat King, and very glad to have um, Dr. Francis with us again. We had an amazing time. That was about 4 months ago, wasn't it? I think that's a bit too long. Right, we'll definitely try not to make it that long again. So we're back with our first episode of Leader Talk for the year 2024. I'm very excited about what we're going to be discussing because I believe that what we've got to share is going to really help many people, especially those who are aspiring to become leaders and those who are also already in leadership positions as well. So first of all, once again, welcome those of you who are on YouTube and also those on Facebook. Um, please hit the like button and also share so that more people can join in. I'm not quite sure what time we're going to finish, but it's not going to go beyond an hour. I guarantee you that. So let's just see. Let's just see where the conversation takes us. Yeah. So please, if you're also on Facebook, hit the follow button so that you don't miss out on future content such as this one here. Really good to have you join. I can see people start joining now. Um, so so I'll just give it probably another minute or two for as more people join us. But yeah, it's one of the things that I personally love to discuss because it's something that affects every single one of us, whether we like it or not. There's no human being on planet Earth who can say that they are not influenced by leadership in any shape or form whatsoever. No way. Every single one of us is influenced by leadership every single day. At least um, on the most basic level, you've even got the president of your nation. You've got the prime minister, depending where you are. You've got your ministers. You've got all of these people are making decisions that are impacting you. If you work, of course, leadership's affecting you, and so on. So leadership is a very important subject, and we are going to be looking at a very important part of it as well this evening. So there are definitely more people joining now. Okay, excellent. Right. So we're gonna go into it now. Once again, welcome, Dr. Francis. Very glad to have you join us again. And I know we're gonna have a very good discussion, of course. So for those of you who were not part of the very first episode of Leader Talk that we did, that was last year. We are going to start off, with a very brief recap of what we discussed the last time, and we're also going to look at and we're going to basically build on from there. So this evening's discussion is going to be a build on from the last time that we met to have a discussion on Leader Talk. So just for those who weren't part of the very first one, and also even for those who were part of the first one, but would like to have their memories refreshed and so on, we are going to start off with that. Now, first of all, just very briefly before I hand over to Dr. Francis, there is a very big misconception about leadership in general. In fact, there are several misconceptions about the term leadership. When it comes to leadership, one of the biggest misconceptions about this subject is that there are some people who are born to be leaders, And if you don't fall into that category, oops, sorry. You know, you you didn't strike that, that birth jackpot, to be part of those who are born to be leaders. So of course that's not true. That's not true. Oftentimes when people say that there's some people who are born to be leaders, all they're simply referring to, is that there are some people who um, um, some people who have some very key traits of good leaders, right? So for some people, it could be, bravery and so on. Some of these things may come more natural to some than others. So they look at people like that and say, yeah, he's definitely born to be a leader. But of course, there's a lot more to leadership than that. And of course, of course, you can actually learn and develop to become a leader. So, oftentimes when we're having these kinds of discussions, there are some people who switch off straight away and they think, well, it's not really for them. It's for those people who are born to become leaders, or it's for those who are in leadership positions and so on. But of course, that does not need to be so. That's not necessarily right. It's not true anyway. So we develop in leadership. We develop in leadership, no matter how many years you've been in leadership. There is still so much more we can learn and develop in leadership. So for those of you who are already in leadership, this is a great opportunity for us to to sharpen our leadership capabilities, and also for those who are not yet in some form of leadership position or whatsoever, but aspiring to become leaders. Of course, leadership position, the positional leadership is just a part of leadership. You don't necessarily need a title particularly necessarily to become a leader. All right, but anyway, that's not for today. So that was just to give a little, just a little insight as to the fact that, look, you may not be in a position of leadership doesn't mean that you don't need to hear what we're about to discuss. So without much ado, we're going to go straight into it, and I'm just going to invite Dr. Francis. So for those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Francis, I've known him for some years now, and he's a very deep thinker. And of course, he's also a very great scholar. I don't think he will want me to go into his academic background and accomplishments and so on. But yeah, let's just say that he's a very, very deep thinker. I've known him for some years now, and he knows a lot about this particular subject as well, on leadership. And so we are very honored, very, very, very glad to have you once again, Dr. Francis. So please, the floor is open for you. Just flow, and yeah, I'll just tag along. Yeah, very, very nicely behind. So you're welcome, sir. Over to you.
Right. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me in this very important program that you have. Leader, most of the time, this for some group of people, very, very a small number of us living on the planet at the moment are born leaders, and some having stature of leadership. But we have also seen in various ways that something that you nurture, something that you open it up, because every individual, every organization, every sort of society, community, have got that which brings out that leadership attribute guides the flow and the life of a community, a family, a people. So it is not something we can just put a bracket on and say it is for this, so the others we leave them out. It is for everybody. There is something in you that it needs to be sort of polished out in terms of leadership. And so we looked at it focusing on value ascribe. We've seen that most of the time organizations and people talk about more of value added. And yes, it's good with this all importance and contribution to growth and progress of organizational goals and so on. So value added mainly looking at the fact that movement that is added to people, added to organization, added to processes, and which is good, But we go a step further, looking at value ascribing, where it is more of what is within the individual, what is within the the team, the community that we are able to sort of highlight. We're able to unearth and begin to nurture it for the benefit of entire group and organization. I think that is where we find most organizations and people sort of not that they are not aware probably, but they feel to tag along with the normal value added conceptualization and sort of move things further that way. But we believe strongly that there is so much in us that is able to increase productivity and also for our well-being and for life of organizations and teams. It's practical. It's something that is so organic. It is not just as it's not just the mechanical aspect where we see probably adding of qualifications, adding of certain things that we feel brings value to people, but they are deep-seated, life-changing values and characteristics within people that when we're able to sort of harness these things and begin to champion them and incorporate them into our culture, it makes a lot of difference. It brings a lot of difference, especially in this and that we find ourselves. Our productivity will increase. The well-being of our team will be so enhanced. Challenges are able, people are able to deal with challenges in a way that do not impact negatively on their lives and organizational goals in the long term. Because in the short term, yes, value added is good. I mean, if you know it, you see a lot of changes within the short term. But we looking at it in the long term, and you the same people that we focused on, thinking that they are the ones that are adding value to organizations. Not long they sort of wane down. They become weary in a way. They are not able to be as sharp as they should be because it is not spread into all the team. They have been the focal point, and it's been very challenging for them. Some of them will not voice it out psychologically. They feel stressed out because everyone is looking up to them to do the magic, maybe. Yeah, and that brings a lot of challenge to just part of our team, and that drains down even the whole team because we have put so much resources and focus on, and if they are facing challenges, then it means the whole team and the whole organization suffers in one way or the other. And so we still are sort of in the sense we advocate, we strongly advocate value ascribing, because then it is a process. That is a process. So a team that might be at a level that might not be what we feel they have to be at the moment, we know if we are looking at value ascribing, we know what in few years down the line, in few moments down the line, with the team, we could see an excellent team finally emerging with great potential, great provision, activity. So I think this is where we are at, and feel we can share this. They are not new ideas. They are not. We don't claim to think that we have come out with a very unique form of things, but we sort of, in a way, highlighting these things that are already embedded within our fabric, or in our society, in our lives. They are there. But I think the last time we ended on the challenges, why we feel organizations would want such way of leadership and way of helping the team to be more productive. We saw challenges of the fact that they might be comfortable with the status quo. They are achieving what they want to achieve, so they are comfortable with it, they are okay with it. But you might ask them what happens few years down the line. Are you sure you could sustain if you haven't sort of changed your model? Would your focus on value added only be able to give you the advantage that you need in the future that is changing so rapidly and radically? You find that many of them will fall short, because if you do proper assessment, you find they are not prepared for the change that is coming, and that is very crucial, because without that we would falter along the way. So we feel value added, value ascribing is a way, to sort of be able to cushion ourselves and be able to receive the future that is unfolding, that has various conditions that normal processes now are not enough. They are not enough. Yes, you could still be in operation, you could still be making some strides, but it wouldn't last for long, because things are changing technologically, socially. A lot of things are changing, and we need a focus of leadership that is able to bridge this sort of gap that we see. And so today, we want to push it further a bit to look at how then do we cultivate this value ascribing culture within our organizations and teams. Very important. Yes, they are there, but they don't just happen by themselves. Um, within our teams, we've got this strong potential that is seated, yearning to be on earth, yearning to be ignited, if we can put it that way, putting a light on it. It's sort of embedded within life, not hiding, but probably because it is encroached upon by a lot of aspects. Sometimes even just our value added conceptualization is able to dwarf a lot of these values that are within people themselves. Some may feel let down, some may feel not matching up, and some may feel discrimination, favoritism within organizations because our focus has been on value added only. Yes, it is something you still have to look at because you need to add value to yourself, add value to your processes, add value to a lot of the things that we are doing at the moment that require change. So value added, no doubt, is something that needs to be done. But ascribing, which looks deeper and focus on uh, people, focus on people's deposits within them that are able to sort of begin to influence the things we do deep within. If we're able to harness such characteristics and traits and put them together and incorporate them within our processes, we begin to see change, long lasting changes. And I think that is, we believe so strongly that is the way forward going into the future that we look. I'm going to share my PowerPoint now and few things I highlight, and then we can go to our Q&A section and look at a few things. I'm going to share now. I'm not sure how we do it on your system. Let me see. I hope last time it was a bit smooth doing that. Just going to learn again. Okay, yes, I can see that there. Share your screen. Let's go. Okay. Right. If touch of how I got there. My slides.
Okay.
Yeah, can see something there?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good. Good to go, sir?
Yes. Yes, please. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. So yes, I've mentioned my name already. Francis Appiah, Global Vice President for Kingdom Apostolic Empowerment Center. A teacher, a researcher. I mean, you could there's a lot we can put to the name, but it's just the fact that we are so interested in change, helping society, helping people. We're so interested in the fact that things that can enhance our living we build on. So we go through all these phases to be able to participate and to contribute to this. So this is where we are at the moment. And so yes, we have talked about and our groups. And I think on the role of leadership in shaping this culture. We most of the time leave it with our motto, our goal, write them down nicely, we craft them so powerfully. But there is something that is that either way could operate this value ascribing culture within organization, or the other side that based on the actions of leaders, based on the reception of leaders, based on the way leadership is arranged within teams and organizations, value ascribing corrected one way or the other. I want to look at so that we position ourselves in a way and that we're able to sort of extend this organizations for a long term sustenance of value ascribing culture, which is very, very interesting and important for our lives and progress of our organizations. So organizations that integrate culture of value ascribing develop a resilient and adaptable culture. That is very important. Being resilient in this rapidly changing environment, terrain of business, terrain of family, terrain of every aspect of life, how we see things so change rapidly. We need to have a process or a way that is able to help us maintain and improve on our living. And so if we begin to integrate this culture of value ascribing, we open the way for resilience and being an adaptability within our organizations and our teams, and that helps us to sort of cope and not just coping, but to thrive within change, be able to overcome challenges and even to use challenges as opportunities and be able to move on as a whole team. And you value ascribing brings the best out of people, and once that is seen, even when you haven't even come to the full measure of it, as people begin to see that there is something within them that is useful and important to the growth of organization and teams, they will give out their utmost. We will get that from people. Literally begin to look at the fact that it is their home, it is their growth and change in the positive sense of it. Places strong emphasis healthy. So as I said, when people see that this culture of empathy, this culture of selflessness, longing, they are ready and willing to sort of produce even outstanding things. So a culture of value ascribing with this emphasis on transparency and ethical behavior builds trust and credibility stakeholders as well as within our teams. Very, very important. It seems it becomes an instrument where people begin to the image of an organization, the image of a team, and be able to see whether this team or organization would travel far is something that we need to sort of embrace and look at very, very well. And so
Sorry, sorry to
yes,
jump.
so
Sorry to jump in there for just a split
leaders
seconds.
are cautious.
Uh, yeah, sorry to jump in there. I'm not quite sure if we've moved from the first slide because it's still showing just the
All
first
right.
one. Yeah, it's still showing just the opening one. I'm
Okay.
not quite sure why. Because I guess
Why is doing
I
it?
guess you'd moved I guess you'd move from the first one, but yeah, that's still the only one that we
On
can
the
see at the
third or
moment.
something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's still just showing the first one. So
Okay.
I'm sure some of our
So
viewers are
she's
probably
showing the
wondering as
first.
well.
I'm on the second now.
Yeah, it's still showing the first one.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You just flow, please. It might fix itself. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's
okay,
try that
let's
again.
see. Okay. All right, let's
Yeah,
try
because
again.
it looks
Okay.
like the viewers might benefit a bit more from seeing the slides. That's just the only reason why. Um, I just paused there. So if we can try that again. Sorry, just bear with us. Just bear with us. We're just trying to sort it out so that you can also join in with the actual slides as well. For those of you watching on YouTube and also on Facebook. Okay, so we're going to try that again. Also, if you've got any questions, please, please drop that in the description as we go. Okay.
Right. How does it look now?
Yeah. I
So,
can see it on mine now. Yeah, I can see it.
okay. So it should be organizations that integrate
Yeah,
a culture of value ascribing,
thank
developing
you.
that nicely. Okay. So yes, the fact that a culture of value ascribing, with this emphasis on transparency and ethical behavior, builds trust and credibility with customers and stakeholders. So that is very key. And the next slide looks deeper into leaders as cultural shapers. Culture shapers. Leaders are very important in this process of building and cultivating this culture of value ascribing. Um, Most of the time, there is this disconnect. Leaders feel we have designed leadership, organizational goals and values and processes that teams would have to follow. See such arrangements within the leadership itself. Best, it's even at a point where you will just see glimpses of it in this artificial sense. When I say artificial, that they seem to just want to portray it to the team that yes, we are with you in this full process of the arrangement. But in 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 the normal sense, in the sense they are not actual sense, they are not part of it. They have designed it, and they feel that it is the responsibility of the team down there to carry on. But we sort of are the lords in a way. We just have described it. We have put it together for you to work with it, and we cannot. But here strongly, we just want to highlight the fact whatever the organization or leadership wants the organization to be, they themselves have to be it, have to portray that, they have to carry that sincerely and deeply rooted in it. And when that is shown, when that is seen, when that reflects in all the things they do, invariably you will see that the team carries it on and the organization's culture just paints that picture clearly. Even an outsider far away would recognize it if that is the sense. And I think we need to encourage encourage this within our leaders, that not just for probably the junior staff, not just the team, not just the others. It is rather the leaders who carry that. And once they carry it well, it spreads downwards and it becomes the culture of the organization. So leaders are pivotal and must in the same vein carry the culture of value ascribing so highly in every aspect of their leadership, in communication, in actions, in interactions, in collaborations, in all the things leaders do. That culture must be seen in there. It's not just the tweet, but it should reflect in their attitudes and everything. And if that becomes the case, then surely the culture would spread so and would take over the organization. And so that is what I want to emphasize today. Very, very important. It is not us and them. It is us carrying it and them feeding into it, and all of us becoming one for the organization when we carry this value ascribing conceptualization forward. Very, very important. Okay. So how do we do these things? Few points that I just want to mention as we go along. I hope the slides are seen now. Hello,
It's
Nat. Did
not.
it change?
Yeah, it's so it changed just the very first time for me, but I'm not quite sure. But it froze. Well, it seems to have frozen on that page
Okay.
again on mine, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
For those who are connected, can you see the slides changing? So please, just a very quick yes or no, please. Um, yeah, just to help us know what's going on.
Also,
If
network issues,
Yeah,
I think.
because it might just be on mine. It might just be on mine. So um, if someone can just drop a quick comment,
So
yes or
now it
no,
should be
that
on,
would be great.
yeah, implementation steps. If someone could see that.
Okay, yeah, because on mine it's still showing cultivating a culture-driven culture, um, key approaches for organizational success, and it's showing organizations that integrate a culture
Okay.
of value
Right.
ascribing.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, it looks like it's just frozen on that. But yeah, you just carry
Frozen.
on, please. Sorry. Yeah, sorry to our
Okay.
sorry to our
Yes.
viewers.
And
Yeah, you let's just carry on. Yes, please.
mm, sorry for that. So I think we'll carry on, and then finish. You will have culture, trying for it to take hold of it and run with it. Um, Leaders, as I said, are very, very key in this. They need to provide leadership training focused on values. So training, um, I'm not necessarily in the formal sense of it. Yes, that could start the whole process, but along there are bound to be times and places that we one key aspect of the culture as we see it and be able to move it within the organization. And so it's an iterative thing. It is an adaptive thing. It is something as we go forward, certain things come up. We're looking at value ascribing as a key concept that needs to run within the organization, having leaders train on it, having leaders committed to it, and then they can be the cheerleaders, they can be the ones who carry this conceptualization forward. Also, there is the need to encourage leaders to actively communicate and demonstrate values. If you were to see my slide, I have demonstrate values. Most of the time, we do well in the first aspect of we communicate well. We sort of put our scripts well together. People know about the values, the culture, things that we're trying to implement within organizations. But as I said, with the leadership, the disconnect is when we don't see them in the actions of leaders. So here I emphasize the fact to demonstrate the values. They themselves must live the values, and in that sense, it would transcend and transmit within your team and your organization. Before you know it, everyone become the leader of that value, and they are taking it forward. So demonstrate it in your actions, in your attitudes, everything you do. Let these values be so demonstrated, and once they are done, it catches on with all other aspects of organization and team. So you can achieve a lot with that. Next, I say incorporate adherence to values in assessments and evaluations. So you go through this assessment evaluation of the values, and so that we are so able to adhere to 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 these values long. It is something that we need to. So very, very, very key. So I'm sure maybe this might be helpful now. I've left the sharing side. Okay, just a minute.
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Sorry, I've got a technical help here somewhere. Is it stop?
No, keep it there. Slide. Yes.
Okay, so this one.
Yeah, as you can see.
Okay, you can see the slide now. I think.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, it's changed. Yeah, it's much better.
So I can hear you there. Okay, so that's fine. Good. Sorry for this technical thing going on. And this is the reason why it is so important that also we have value ascribing of changes going on, part of issues, technical of change, and these things must be sort of addressed within organizations. And as ascribing value ascribing culture is one of the key things that can also help us to cope with issues like this, change like this, and move in organizations one by one and see hopefully we can get something from there. So also important, as we said, communication. In that sense, clear articulation of our core values that we can still very much champion. And articulate our core values. Very, very important, because in a chaotic sort of misrepresentation most of the time of values and of organizations attain much when we are not on the same platform of understanding what core values are. So it is important to clearly define that, articulate it well. Now, once we've been able to do that, there is the need for consistent values to end. It is not just when we roll it out, we think that is enough. It is good, but then we need to carry on to ensure that people understand what our core values are, the practicalities of them, and how they can incorporate that in their activities in our organization. Thirdly, values as a guiding force for every member in the organization. So whatever you do, that is the guide you follow, you go through, and that helps our progress and our productivity going forward. Also, yes, so also let me see. In the same way, here we look at implementation well, and here we develop a comprehensive value statement, which makes it clearer, makes it consistent, makes it coherent for everybody to know and to follow and to understand. And in that, we need to integrate values into onboarding processes for new members. As I said, initially when it is rolled out, probably we do it big. We're able to sort of let the organization and become very much aware of what this value statement is and what the things that we are looking to achieve within the organization, within our teams, that our organization units that keeps changing, new members joining. So it is important that every onboarding process would infuse the values of the organization, so that every new member, right from the start, right from the go, very much what is expected of them in terms of the values of the organization. And we regularly have to communicate and reinforce this through internal channels that we do have, and so on. Very, very important. But the next thing that I want to focus on is now, how do we foster this collaboration and alignment of our values, the values within our organization, within our teams. It's important to generate this platform of collaborative decision making, where every member, every aspect of our organization is important when it comes to taking very key decisions going forward. Why is that important? It means that when we are able to consider diverse perspective in decision-making process, we promote ownership and alignment with organizational values. And that is very, very key in value ascribing culture. ownership and alignment. We all know the importance of this. We all know the conditions and the additions that this bring to organizational growth and development. When people see that they are key in your organization or your team, when they see their contributions, their values being promoted, accepted, they always find a way to make the organization and to promote every aspect the organization is developing or moving forward with. And so it is important that we create this culture and create this ownership within people, within our teams. Otherwise, as I said from beginning, as we and them, and that disconnect is there. People feel they're just at a job, they're just sort of making a living, but not progressing agenda. They're not progressing any organization. They just they get their wages and they are gone. But if we want to retain, if we want the long-term teams flourish, able to produce the best themselves and for the organization, it's ownership and alignment culture within organizations and organizational values. Very, very important as well. And what are the benefits? What of all these things we have? Things that organizations stand to gain, teams stand to gain, having a valued culture, inculcating that in your organization. We have seen some of it already. It enhances employee engagement. Very, very important. Engagement, not just doing their basic responsibilities and jobs, but rather that sense of leadership within themselves, having that sense within themselves, having that sense of being able to showcase some change and some improvement within organizations, the activity, and to bring the best out of them. And so it is, we have this value-driven culture inscribed within our organization. Secondly, it involves almost everybody within the organization in terms of decision making, that people feel part of what is going on. Any change that comes, they know they have contributed to that change, and so they are to help for it to be stabilized within organizations. It is very important that we create platforms, channels that are able to bring on board ideas from our teams for such important the value-driven culture that is established within our organization. It is very important that we focus on such channels and such attributes of our organization that is able to build on this value ascribed culture. Once we're able to do that long term, we are bound bound to be successful in any way. Come, but we still be able to stand best chance of producing the best for our organization. Right. So I will floor for questions and contributions and all other things that we need to. So back to you, Mr. Nat.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. It was such a shame that um, we had some technical hiccups at one point during at one point during what we're doing, and and once we managed to get that sorted, particularly with the slides, I'm sure the viewers would definitely find as well that it became even more helpful. Wow, some really good points there. I mean, it was it's so loaded that I don't even know where to start. Honestly, that's the issue that I'm actually having right now. The challenge is, where do we even begin from? When it comes to um, just expounding slightly on what we've already started discussing. Because I mean, um, you're talking about the fact that that is a process. You're talking about the fact that there is no we and them as well, which is very important. When it comes to organizations, many times one of the reasons why the people within the organization don't really buy into this value driven culture is because of a disconnect between the leadership and the rest of the people. There seems to be this us and them culture, and when you have that within an organization, it makes it very difficult for the people to buy into it, to buy into the changes, to buy into the things that the leadership within the organization is trying to push forward, particularly if the people naturally are not inclined towards going with that particular um, concept, or idea or strategy that the leadership wants to introduce. And so it's very important. Wow. So yeah, there's quite a lot there. I know we've exhausted most of our time already. But if anyone has any question, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, please type it in the comment section, and we'll take it from there. So we're just going to give it just a few more minutes. Just bear with us. I know our time is very much spent. We're hitting the 1 hour mark now. So if you've got any question, please just type that in the comment section and we'll pick it up. Okay. So while we wait for that as well, there was something else as well that you kept referring to, which was that it has to begin with the leadership. The leaders have to carry it forward. They have to they have to exemplify the very culture, sorry, the very values that they're trying to establish within the organization. And in this case, we're talking about value ascribing. It really begins with the leadership, and that is something. Sometimes the leadership itself, it doesn't really move forward with with the values that they're trying to introduce within the organization. And when the people see that the leaders themselves are not moving with such a level of conviction, about what it is that they're trying to establish within the organization, the people are able to see straight away themselves that actually no, these guys don't even believe in this. They don't even believe in that, and so it makes it very difficult for the people to align, very willingly, to these changes. So anyway, yeah, and also just yeah, and also just very quickly to add something as well that you mentioned as well is the importance of collaborative decision making, and also promoting ownership and alignment. I think someone has just asked a question on YouTube. Okay, so how can employees request for value ascribing within the organization? That's a very interesting question. Very, very good. So someone is
Mhm.
asking on YouTube,
Mhm.
how can employees request for value ascribing within the organization? Okay. So yeah, over to you, please.
Light a bit on that.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you for that question, Lynn. That's a very powerful question because um, it, it might not it might come to the attention, or as I said, if the leaders carry this position as against the values that the organization subscribe to, um, it is evident, it becomes to many. Now, employees can pick out and to know that probably we might have mentioned we want to sort of implement value ascribing, but we don't see that. We don't see it even in the attitudes, in the operations of leadership, and so on. So I think the question is asking, can they now ask organization, ask leadership for value ascribing within the organization? And I would say yes, that is all looking for. If initially they have not subscribed to it, but you believe that it is the way to go, there is a way to put this forward to leadership, um, highlighting the benefit of it, because organizations are always looking for the benefit of what they do. If they are subscribing to something and it's not going to yield to them the positive impact they're looking for, then. But if you're able to sort of put it forward in a way, value the importance of value ascribing within organizations, then I think it's a very important addition that you're going to bring into the organization. So please don't be, and actually it is part of the training as well. Everybody is part of this culture. It's a culture. And so once we don't see it, or we don't see in the form that it's supposed to take, we need to flag it up and then be able to sort of deal with it within with organization, with leadership, and be able to sort of make sure we are following what will benefit the organization going forward. Thank you.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think just to add a tiny bit to what Dr. Francis has just said. It makes it easier as well to ask about these things when the existing culture within the organization actually encourages the people within the organization, whether it's a business or an NGO, to also come up with suggestions, right? Because there are some organizations that don't actually have that kind of a culture that encourages it. So, unfortunately, if you're in one, if you find yourself in one of those organizations, yes, it can be a bit tricky, if the organization is such that they simply do not welcome or tolerate any kind of, suggestion whatsoever from the rest of the team. However, yes, just like Dr. Francis just said, it's imperative that we're also courageous, and we do take the steps to asking to asking the leadership, in the appropriate way, to look into it. Sometimes you could even suggest an article, you can suggest a video, you can suggest something to them, for them to read further, into it for themselves as well. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Can we get one last question? I know our time is gone. If we're gonna make room
Yes,
for just one last person.
yes, sir. I think I've seen a question from one of us asking what biblical teachings sort of links up with this that we are talking about, value ascribing. And I think we can refer to those who went to David, the people that went to him to submit to his leadership, people who were so in societal judgment, they might not value to anything. They won't be able to amount to anything. They cannot achieve much. People who are dejected, distraught people who have failed probably in a lot of ventures. But these people submitted to David. And in the end, the Bible says they became the valiant men of David. Indeed, they demonstrated that. So it shows you that there is so much in people that we can harness. We can touch on these things, and when they come together in the sense of value ascribing, not just value added, incorporating that into our activities, we are able to bring so much out of people to the benefit of our organization, our stakeholders, and our larger community. So I think in the nutshell, I think this is where this is coming from. We have so much deposited in every individual that needs to be touched on. It is not just few who have probably attained one or two things that we feel have added value, but it is the ascribing, the activation of value within people, making them know that they can stand out no matter what the situation presently. When we're able to bring that light, many things can go right within our organizations and our teams. So I think we can draw on that. Over to you, sir.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So yes, value ascribing. If you missed the previous episode on Leada-Talk, please find that on any of our channels, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. And yeah, just go through that so that this particular session will become a bit clearer to you. And also for those of you who are actually part of it a few months ago, you can still go back to it so that, this, once again, this session will become a bit more beneficial to you as well in terms of clarity and so on. So that is the time that we have. Unfortunately, so sorry that we had some technical issues, during the discussion today, and also with the slides, and also with some sound issues as well, and and so on. But we definitely will fix that for the next one. We are back next week. We're back next week with impact nuggets, and we're going to carry on from the previous episode as well. We're going to be looking at embracing change, so embracing change part 2. So that's also going to help actually, with what we've been discussing today, because it's important. But when it comes to embracing change, it's not just on a personal level, but also on an organizational level. So if you're able to, please join us. That's going to be next week Tuesday, same time next week Tuesday. So 8 p.m. BST. Okay, yeah, should be by next week. So if you're able to, please join us next week Tuesday evening. Thank you once again, Dr. Francis, for making the time to join us this evening and to share all those wonderful insights as to the keys to fostering value ascribing within the organization and so on. So thank you once again. We're very, very grateful that you're able to join us. And I know we're going to have you again very, very shortly. I'm not quite sure when the next one is going to be, but yeah, please follow us. Follow us whether on Facebook, whether on YouTube, or any of our other platforms as well, so that you don't miss out on the new contents as well. We're definitely going to be doing a lot more. So yeah, please keep your eyes out, okay, so that you don't miss out. So thank you so much for joining us. Really grateful. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your week. Okay, thank you.